Okay, so here it is. Am I the asshole for buying you could play the stinger now.
Yeah, why don't we? This time.
Another tale from Reddit.
Man, look at that production quality.
Wow. We put a lot of work in that
remarkable
title.
stuff. Am I the asshole for buying a $50,000 guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value? Wow. Okay. This is interesting. Let me read this. This happened a while back. My wife and I still talk about it every once in a while. She's on my side, and most of our friends and family are. However, when it happened, it was like World War III between us and her coworkers and others. So here we go. I've been playing guitar for 22 years. I know guitar values and whatnot very well. I'm very into the guitar market. At my wife's old company, she was hanging out with coworkers one day after work, and she mentioned that I play guitar. A coworker, who I guess is very popular at work, that's funny. She's very popular at work. I've never thought to describe someone like that at
They're
work.
a big hit. They're a big hit at the office. Maybe they bring donuts every day.
True. A coworker who I guess is very popular at work said her dad passed away and he was selling his dad's things. His dad, sorry, it's hard to read because there's so much text and it's hard to read.
Would you like me to
lines.
read it? I got it a little bigger on my screen here.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Except I got to find where you were.
It's right here.
Wait, it's all crazy. Joey? Oh, a coworker. A coworker who I guess is very popular at work said that his dad passed away and he was selling his dad's things. His dad had a guitar and asked my wife if I'd be interested in it. My wife texted me and I said to have him send me the info on the guitar and the price. The next day, he texted me pics and the price. Is a 1952 Telecaster in mint condition.
That sounds valuable.
That is that's kind of the holy grail.
That's like an insane find.
Yeah.
He had the original receipts, which is crazy. That's how I knew the date. I asked what he wanted for it, and he said, I looked up Telecasters online, and I think $4,000 is fair. I texted back, I'll take it for $4,000, went to pick it up. The guitar had no sentimental value to him at all. It was just selling off somebody else's stuff, right? Here's the issue at hand. The guitar was/is worth approximately $50,000, depending on the buyer, and I knew it. When I got the guitar, I told my wife the price and what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward to 2 weeks later, and her coworker tells my wife that he just found out what the guitar is actually worth from a family friend, and he wanted it back. She said, well, he really likes the guitar, and he knew it was worth $50,000, which is why he was floored that you offered it for $4,000. Why, snitch, wife? Why did she say that?
Yeah.
He really likes it, and I doubt he'll sell it back to you, but you can ask. Probably not the smartest thing to say to her, for her to say, but she was caught off guard, and it's not her fault or problem. Okay, fair enough. He contacted me and asked to buy it back. I said that it's not for sale. He then said I scammed him, and he was going to sue me and take my wife to HR for being part of a scam, which was nuts, but he actually did contact HR. They were cool about it and said it's not their problem. It's between him and me. Yeah, I mean, neither of them work there, right? Or no, I guess...
No, he's popular. He's popular.
He does work there, that's right.
Everyone loves him.
Yeah, but he sold it to somebody who doesn't work there. So yeah, I mean, what is HR going to do? Over the next few months, he made things very uncomfortable for my wife at work. He would bug her constantly about it. She eventually had to go to HR for harassment, and they actually let him go. He got fired for this.
His life is falling apart. Dude.
She complained twice, and he was warned and didn't stop. He contacted me several times about it, so I got a restraining order for harassment too. I blocked him, and I haven't heard from him about it in a year. Am I the asshole?
This is crazy.
Wow.
Oof.
So there's an update. I guess, should we read the update before we share our
Maybe, I don't know, what should our protocol be? Maybe
probably just discuss the
Let's
name.
give our take and then read the update.
and then read the update. Yeah, I agree.
You know, this is a really interesting one because on one hand, I got to say,
Him
the guy
knowing he was essentially swindling the guy, I think loses him a lot of points for me. If it was done out of ignorance and then later he found that out, I'd feel like I would be more inclined to say, like, that's not my fault.
Here's the thing. If it was a total stranger, like you just found them on Craigslist selling it or you found it at a swap meet, that's no, fuck them. The fact that it was like through his wife, his coworker,
Right.
they know each other. I do feel like he was being a giant fucking asshole. by either like not only not giving it back, but like at least you can like.
I agree.
I mean, you did kind of swindle him.
That's
This
kind
is
of, yeah.
And not, it doesn't matter that there's no sentimental value. Your dad left an inheritance, and apparently a big part of it, presumably, was this very valuable guitar.
Yep.
I've been in a similar situation, obviously not to this level of value of guitar, where I went to go purchase a guitar and the person had no idea what they had. So I wanted to be fair, and they were quoting me a price, and I actually ended up paying them more for the guitar. I think that's fair, that's ethical. When you go on this quote unquote, they call it guitar safari, going looking for a guitar and stuff like that. There's like a unwritten rule that you have to be as fair as possible. You don't want to fuck people over.
I think, and that's very kind of you. You are a great guy.
Oh,
and I do see, I have seen that a lot, I think, when it comes to this type of thing, like antiques and stuff. Like, you're still getting a great deal, but I think it's a little deceptive to not at least tell them
Yeah.
that, like,
Especially if it's your wife's coworker.
yeah, that part.
Now, what makes this one so good to discuss, I think, is that we know how it plays out, at least according to him, that this caused that coworker to go kind of nuts and start harassing his wife and him.
Well,
To the extent that he lost his job over it, he couldn't and yeah, he may have been justified in being upset, but you
This-
can't start harassing your coworker because you fucked up.
this could be a manifestation of his grief that was like catapulted by them not giving this piece of his dad back. You know,
Right.
like the idea of
Who is he to say there's no,
No, he
sentimental
was,
value?
I mean,
okay, he paid
No,
him.
spit.
But he's-
Thank you so
Go ahead.
much. He paid him way less than he should have for this guitar that he says he doesn't have any sentimental value towards it. But that's not fair because he didn't realize how much money was in the guitar, which is then how his dad is connected to it because his dad left that for him and he didn't think, oh, he left the guitar for me, I'm never going to play guitar. He's like, oh, he left this important relic for me so that I can build a better life for myself.
He must have had
Yeah.
an untimely death because I feel like he would have explained
Yeah,
it.
you would have told
but
him.
It was in mint condition and he still had the receipt. Like, that man cherished that.
Yeah.
That's
it's
like
nice.
that. If
Cherished.
it depending, I mean, if it's like mint, that's absolutely insane for that year guitar.
was that the first year? Is that why?
51 was the first.
Oh, okay.
But they called it a no caster
I'm a
because
little-
they got sued.
Okay.
But yeah, the seller might have he should have done his research though.
I'm
Like,
under
he
the-
should have done.
They did. I mean, that's unquestionably true. That was silly to not even look into it a little
Just
bit.
to say the obvious.
Well, I guess he did, but how did he come up with 4,000?
He just looked at values of like modern
like a
day.
modern Telecaster.
Now I'll say this just to state the obvious. Obviously, the guy who sold it is not right when he started stalking and harassing them. Okay, right? Like, that's
Right.
obvious. Go ahead, love.
I'm a little bit more I think he's an asshole, but it's justified because you know everyone's gonna come on to hit like a come up once in their life, and if you don't take that, you're gonna miss out, dude, in life. Like, if you can make 35K, I would do it. Especially if you're not a rich man, you're not like
Yeah, but it's
balling
at
or
someone's
nothing.
expense.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, what
a
he,
lot of things is in life.
he didn't technically lose anything because he didn't know the value of the
Yeah.
guitar. He gained $4,000.
Yeah.
Well,
And I'll go to the other extreme. If I was the person who lost that guitar for 3K, I think his reaction is justified. If you want to have a come up, you gotta deal with the consequences, dude.
We'll say if
You're
my,
saying he deserved to be harassed?
I'd be fucking pissed if I lost 35K or
you
whatever.
are
Right.
really an empath.
I'm like totally like
Love
this.
is
This is a situation, and if you want to have a 35K come up like that,
of your coworker.
yeah, you're
Right,
gonna
you
have to expect that person to feel like he lost 35 G's.
I
Absolutely.
mean, the first thing I
Absolutely.
pointed out was like it does change the dynamic for me that he admits he was fully aware he was taking advantage of this guy.
Yeah.
I knew what it was worth, and I offered him way less than that. I mean, he took advantage of his ignorance, unquestionably.
if
Yeah,
my
for sure,
kids
and it-
did that, and I'm putting in my will about the guitars for the record, if they did that, I will come back and haunt them
Yeah.
for selling it so cheap.
Well, you got to tell them before you die.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Let 'em
Some
know.
people in chat are saying Olivia needs to grow up.
Oh,
Olivia
God.
fantasy
You guys are
answer.
so- why are you guys
You
such
guys are
dickheads?
so like how I wouldn't go forward with the guitar because just personally, the guilt of the other person's like misfortune would weigh
I
too
agree with you.
heavily
You're
on
an
me.
empath.
So
Like-
I would. Okay, shush. But no, it's just like that's personally not how I would operate. And yeah, I think you're an asshole if you keep
I
it.
absolutely
It's his
agree with you. No-
dad's.
I'm gonna place my judgment now.
You're placing the judgment. Okay.
I
wasn't
believe
here, but
the
I
guy
believe
who
you.
bought the guitar for $4,000 is
Should we
an
poll
asshole.
the audience?
Yeah, if
We
you're
should do a poll.
selfish enough to be able to keep that guitar, fine. By all means.
You didn't do anything illegal.
Right.
Right.
You're
didn't
just
do
not
anything-
me.
But
So-
that being said, you are a giant asshole.
So
in
Yeah.
my
Do we
opinion.
want to let the poll reflect, for example, my opinion, where I think he's an asshole, but I think it's justified and okay to do.
Can they both be assholes?
So yeah,
No.
and there's a whole you can. There's a whole nomenclature here on this subreddit. There's YTA, you're the asshole. There's NTA, not the asshole. There's I think EAA, everyone's an asshole, or ETA, everyone's the asshole.
Here, I'll pull it up.
So that's kind of blaming everybody. And then there must be like a nobody's at fault here one as well, right?
I want to thank Elena's mom real fast for these delightful treats she brought me.
Oh, they're so good. In fact,
So-
I gotta
so
grab one of
thoughtful,
those in a
so
sec.
nice. So
So, it's-
lovely. Thank you.
Yeah, it's YTA,
YTA, NTA, and then ESH. Everyone sucks here.
Oh.
NAH, no asshole here.
and no asshole, and no
And
NAH.
I'd go out on a limb and to say that the first guy's an asshole, but it's justified. The guy reacting to losing 37K or whatever, he's not an asshole because he's been pushed to act that way.
He has absolutely been pushed. That's a
Yeah,
good point.
he's been
like,
pushed
how
that
fucking
way.
angry would you be?
Yeah.
That your coworker is like, nah, fuck you. It's like, yo, oh my god, this was
Yeah.
such a mistake. Nah, fuck you. Suck it, bitch.
Yeah.
And then you got to see that person
Oh.
every day.
And I think there's a lot of important factors. Like, is either of them rich or either of them really poor?
I'm gonna assume they're like all middle class.
Because if the dude did that was rich and he made 35K, but he has like a couple mil in the bank or even a couple of 100K, like I'm gonna say like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. You could have bought it. If he was gonna sell it immediately for profit, that's also makes it even worse. But the fact that he keeps it, in my opinion, is like he would never have gotten that guitar.
He said he was going to sell it.
Oh, he did. Okay,
Yeah.
so then that adds a little bit
He
more to
said
his
50,000
asshole.
depending on the buyer. I find, which I think
Oh,
he
okay,
said.
well, I missed that part. But okay, so that makes him a little bit more of an asshole.
Like
in
you
my
could
opinion.
sell it and then at least give him like half.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
Now Frank said, "Bad poll. Who's the POV?" Listen, I think it's very clear.
Yeah.
It's the
Narrator.
person who wrote the
100%.
story. Frank,
Yeah.
that's a little on you. I don't think that's a bad poll. I
It's
think
not a
that's-
bad pull.
Yeah, it's not a bad poll.
So I'm actually
This is extremely divided, almost as divided as it
Yeah.
could be. I would
now
say.
I think my decision is you're the asshole, and the reason being is that just put yourself in the guy's place. Obviously, he made a mistake, and initially he was wrong. Okay,
Yeah.
but imagine putting yourself in his shoes and how fucking pissed off you would be.
Yeah.
dealing with working with this person, and then you find out for sure he sold it and he made all this. It's like, what the hell, dude?
Dude,
Yeah, I guess it would be pretty upsetting.
when I get the wrong order from DoorDash or some shit, I'll go to war for that $35. Like I can't imagine what I do for
35,000.
35K. Like I go to customer support, it's like, hey, I didn't actually order this. Like I'll spend an hour for $35.
Uh-huh.
For 35K, it would ruin my life, I think. Like,
How
genuinely.
imagine dealing with that psychologically? It would be so painful.
Yeah.
So now there
And your dad just died, imagine.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
not bad
that's
enough.
true.
Your dad
Yeah.
just died.
Good point.
So there is the update, and there's also what the verdict in the Reddit vote was. Would you like to hear those two things?
So what's the Reddit? Well, our fans say that everyone sucks here, which is definitely fair.
I think it's more fair. I think the buyer sucks a little more,
Me too.
but I think the other guy was definitely allowed himself to be. His carelessness allowed himself to. Allowed him to put himself in a bad position,
But-
and then he handled it very
But
poorly.
you know
in
what?
the aftermath.
I can only imagine, like, if you're grieving and you have to go through all the belongings and deal with all this shit, like, it's overwhelming. You're
right.
in a vulnerable
That's true.
position.
That's
he took
true.
advantage of this guy's vulnerability. He was taken
True.
advantage of.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just some random guy. He was grieving for his father.
Yeah. Now that we've put that all on the line, let's hear the update because I think it will change the dynamics a little bit, and we might need to reassess.
By the way, what did he actually do? Because let's read it again. He said he would bug my wife all the time about it.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound that bad.
It's inappropriate, but not that bad.
Well,
yeah.
well, I don't know what that means. It's very broad.
We gotta take it at literally just annoying her, saying that, hey, that guitar, constantly talking to her about it.
I mean, shit. Like you said, if you're gonna steal 35,000 from someone's steal, then that's the least you could expect is for them not to like you, to give you shit.
Yeah.
She eventually had to go to HR for harassment, and they actually let him go, which is fun. It is funny. She complained twice, and he was warned and didn't stop. So
I mean, if you got 2 warnings and didn't stop, at that point, it's on you.
I don't know what he did. Tell me
All
the
right,
results.
So the vote on Reddit was that he's not the asshole.
Yeah, I think
That
that's
is the
crazy.
prevailing attitude on Reddit.
Well, you know what?
And-
Most
but-
people on Reddit are assholes. So
I think that's-
Well, wait. I mean, there is that. But then I'm going to read you the update. All right. Well, this post blew up way beyond what I was expecting. It looks like I was voted not the asshole. There's over 5,000 comments. I couldn't read them all, but I did read a lot. Just to clear up some things. I left some things out because I didn't want to influence opinions. And I really wanted it to be about me buying a guitar at significantly lower market value versus people in the story. I did include the fact that the guy who was harassing my wife at work, not to make this guy sound bad, but because I thought it was relevant to the story. Here's some specific details I chose not to include.
If you take that out of the equation, that he was harassing his wife,
Then you're fully the asshole.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the only. That's what tipped it in the other
Yeah.
direction at all. All right, so here we go. The guy and his dad were not close at all. So the people saying he was grieving and I took advantage of him, that is 100% not the case.
Sorry, but you cannot.
I don't
say
think you
that.
can say that with 100% certainty.
How well do you don't even know this guy?
It's a
Sounds like.
wife's coworker. When I went to get the guitar, he was telling me he hadn't talked to his dad in 6 years and was actually annoyed he had to deal with the funeral. You know, it's probably complicated.
Yeah.
It's probably complicated feelings there.
lost
The
his
dad,
dad.
I find that information irrelevant.
Me too.
I feel
He's
like
still
it's
grieving the
making-
loss of a father.
Yeah, it's making him look worse.
now he did leave it out
Yeah.
in the original post.
He's just clarifying.
But the fact that he thinks that helps tells us something about his character.
Okay. Well, let me continue. The dad.
All of Reddit agrees with him somehow.
That's Reddit,
well,
baby.
not all. He just won the vote. It could have been a 51-49 situation.
Do you know?
You know, there might be a bot that tells you actually.
Yeah,
But
usually
this
there
is an older post, so it might have been before they implemented that. Let me finish the update. So the dad and the guy were not close at all. Blah blah blah. It's 100% not the case. The dad bought the guitar new and never played it. Luckily, it was stored in a closet and not in a basement or an attic. There is no issue with the wood or electronics. It plays like a dream, and I couldn't be happier. I am not selling the guitar to the son or anyone.
Okay.
It will be with me for a very long time. I'm in my 30s, so maybe in 30 years,
I'm gonna
it
give
will
this to
find a new
my
home.
kids.
Yeah.
That's so cursed. I feel like that's so cursed.
Well, moreover, and Zach, maybe you can weigh in on this. I mean, is this sacrilegious for him to be playing this thing and putting some like wear and tear on it?
I mean, if he's
If
not,
it's like truly a mint condition
I mean,
example,
play it at home. Don't take it on the road with you. But you know,
Sure.
if
You
you're
can
delicate
enjoy
with
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
their
fair enough.
work. I mean, they're workhorses. The time that these guitars have been around, and they still play beautifully. You know,
Mm-hmm.
And people say the same thing about nice swatches, Dan. you don't buy it to look at it. You should enjoy it.
fair enough. I would have maybe considered giving the guy more money and giving him one of my guitars to sell on his own, but I
What kind of
decided
compromise is that?
I don't know.
Take one of my other guitars.
Well, giving the guy more money.
He said, "I'll give him another guitar of mine to sell." That's.
I mean, there is an element here. I still think the dude's a dick. But the fact that the guy isn't interested in reselling it for profit softens it. The fact
for
that like
sure.
he is actually a guitar appreciator and like sees like the historic
Yep.
value of
You
it,
know
is
what
gonna
this
take
is,
good care
Dan?
of it. That's not as bad as like him.
It is
flipping
bad,
it.
and I'll tell you why. You ever been on the playground trading Pokemon cards or whatever?
Oh man, many
Yeah.
times.
And these older kids that know better, they constantly taking advantage of the younger kids and getting like monster trades on them.
Okay.
That's fucked up.
So my point, if that Pokemon story happened to this dude, he wouldn't have sold it for $3K. He
So?
would have learned. You got to learn.
So what? It's his fault he didn't learn.
Well, he's not
Yes.
a kid.
He could have
also-
Googled
Right.
it. He could have Googled it. It was an easily avoidable.
He was dealing with a funeral. There's a whole bunch of shit. I mean, you wouldn't just automatically assume some random guitar's like worth 50,000.
Well, I wouldn't just
4,000
I
probably
wouldn't
sounded
just
like a
sell
lot of
it.
money.
I wouldn't just sell it without doing research. Whatever I was going through.
I wouldn't either.
it does seem particularly negligent considering it apparently had the receipt.
Yeah.
Could have literally like looked at the date on the like. You could have found exactly the information that you needed.
Well, imagine
it
you're
was
like-
all there.
Imagine you have this old guitar, and let's say he paid. I don't know how much they paid for it. Maybe like how much one of those costs original? Who knows?
In 52, I think they were like $150 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Which I mean, there's
So
probably a lot of money
you see a
in
receipt
that
for
here, but-
$150, and you're like, dude, 4,000? That's a huge markup,
right?
and it's old.
Can
Right,
I help you
after
see it
70
in a
years.
different perspective, Ethan? Let's say, because you're a watch guy now, let's say you find a watch that usually goes for like 50, 60K, but the guy sells it to you for $5,000. Afterwards, he's like, actually, can I buy it back? Because I want to resell it for more value. You
It de-
weren't going to resell the watch for 50K. You were going to keep
It
it.
depends on the relationship. If it was one of your guys' significant others, I would definitely give it back to them.
Right. You might grumble about it, but you would
No,
recognize.
I'd be like,
that
you know what?
the
That's
social
fine. I get it.
implication of
I
that.
understand.
Even if we were going to resell it just for more money?
It's
Well,
your
it doesn't-
fucking
it doesn't have
watch.
to be
Do whatever
us
you want with
because
it.
we're-
Well, it's not my
we're
watch
more
anymore.
close.
You bought it.
But I'm
already.
saying you can
Your watch.
resell it, you know, or be like, if you want to buy it, let's do it like a more fair price.
Yeah,
I'll
I
give
think
you a
that-
discount, but like more fair.
I think the social aspect is a more compelling.
If it was some random person that I bought it from on eBay and they're like, actually, I want that back, I'd be like, no, I'm not even going to answer.
Right.
But this is someone you know.
All sales are final.
Let's
yeah,
say like
yeah.
a parent's friend.
I'd probably give it back if there was any like connection there.
Well, that's very nice of you.
I am very nice. I am very saintly.
That is very nice of you. I was almost at the. There was a little bit more here.
Go
I
on.
don't know if we needed that bumper.
I liked it.
Go on.
I would have maybe considered giving the guy more money or giving him one of my guitars to sell on his own, but I decided not to do that after he left a terrible voicemail on my phone the day he found out the real value. He demanded it back and was entitled to an object he sold fair and square, called me a piece of shit, called my wife a piece of shit,
That's changing
and
the
said
equation.
he would do bad things if I didn't sell him the guitar back.
So
okay,
that
that's-
changes a bit.
and-
if somebody like off the bat, instead of being like, yo, I just found about this is super awkward, but this and that. But if someone called you and was like,
They're coming out that
belligerent, then I'd be
hard.
like,
I'd be
a
like-
lot less inclined to help them out.
At that point, I'd rub it in their face if they're threatening me. That's
I mean,
crazy.
that clearly changes the
Yeah.
dynamic big time.
Yeah, that is weird.
Why
The-
would he include that?
Maybe he was
Why
like
wouldn't he
super
include
pissed
that?
because the wife said, "Yeah, my husband fucking knew that it was worth $50,000." So then he called and was like,
Well, he
"You're a
might.
piece of
Okay.
shit."
Sounds like he
okay.
found it out from someone else.
No,
No, the
in
wife
the
told
original
him.
story, it was the wife. Just like that's why it was like snitch
Well,
wife.
he asked for it back when he learned that it was extremely valuable from someone else. And then the wife, when confronted, said it's
"Oh,
worth
you're right.
50,000.
You're right. Right?
I'm going back. Offered him a Lux guitar.
I think, yeah.
Well, he really likes the guitar, and he knew it was worth 50,000, which is why he was floored when you offered it for him for 4,000.
No, but go back
He really likes it.
before that.
The guitar is worth approximately 50,000, depending on the buyer. And I knew it when I got the guitar. I told my wife what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward 2 weeks later, the coworker tells my wife he just found out what the guitar was
just found
actually
out.
worth from a family friend and
Okay,
wanted
yeah.
it back.
Yeah.
And then she said, "Well, he really likes it, and he knew it was worth 50,000, which is why he was floored." Yeah, I would have to imagine the voicemail happened right after that,
Yeah, he should have.
where he was probably pretty fucking mad.
He probably should have
Honestly,
cooled off.
Yeah.
Lurch says, seller is soy, buyer is Chad.
Okay, well, Lurch from the Addams Family.
You make an incredible point.
You know,
Lurch
I
has
think
weighed in.
everybody here is kind of a dick. I think everyone chose the dick.
There's bad behavior in a few by a few parties here. I would agree. Yeah.